Okay, so some news out of Browns camp, a couple news items today. Number one is Greg Robinson, who was the second pick in the draft a couple of years ago, has re-signed with the Browns. Good move?
Oh, sure, and they got him on a one-year contract. And once he settled in, well, you know, like you said, started the final 8 games at tackle, and they allowed only 5 sacks. Whereas that first half when Desmond Harrison was playing and everything. And then the other thought, remember, in training camp was, let's take a Pro Bowl guard and Joe Bitonio and turn him into a mediocre left tackle. This took care of that.
Right, but you said they didn't allow any sacks. That's now Freddie Kitchens' offense when he became the coordinator at that point. So that's good news. That
is good news. And also Baker Mayfield, I remember after the first game that Robinson started, he made this pitch to us in the media after the game. He did unsolicited. He said, you know, Greg Robinson really settled that thing down at left tackle or whatever. Well, it's important what he thinks, too. Not that he's coaching a team, but he needs to trust the left tackle to keep those guys off of him and not to jump off sides all the time like Desmond Harrison was doing.
All right, so that all being said, the Browns at the Combine, what should they be looking for?
Well, first of all,
not necessarily names, but...
Yeah, well, all right, you know, you could, in terms of you want to draft an offensive lineman, you don't have to take them high. You could take them lower and develop them. That's number one. Secondly, linebackers and more linebackers this team needs. Linebackers for the most part, were slow, and they missed an astounding amount of tackles. I mean, Jamie Collins and Joe Schobert were number one. Basically, between the two of them, they missed 46 tackles. And Schobert was number one in the NFL in missed tackles, according to Pro Football Focus. Collins, number 4.
Can we assume Collins will not be here when the season starts?
I would.
You would assume he would not be here?
Yeah. I think
that's the name that keeps popping up as a guy in danger of losing his position.
Sure, I mean he's got like $24 million left in his contract, only $2 million guaranteed.
Right.
And this wasn't a guy that Dorsey signed, and I'm sure he's thinking I could probably find some guy for $6 million on a one-year deal to do that.
All right, let's take a look at some of the names that the Browns might be looking at the Combine in Indianapolis. Here's A.J. Brown. He's a wide receiver out of Ole Miss. And Terry, just it may be stereotyping, but you would assume Ole Miss will produce some wide receiver.
They might. This guy here is more of a slot receiver than a deep threat. So I'm not really sure, Les, exactly how he fits, and they kind of have that guy in Jarvis Landry.
Right. All right, let's continue on. DK Metcalf up the middle.
No, this guy will be, they will be hyperventilating. I was just looking online about this guy, 6'4", 230. He is huge, Les, and he ran a 4.45. All right, word of caution. After 7 games, suffered a neck injury, didn't play the rest of the year, so they'll have to figure that out.
They'll check that out.
But the big thing, Les, is he's big,
and
they need a big receiver.
Well, Dexter Lawrence is a name that's been going around. Clemson, they win championships, so they must have players who do that well.
Yeah, we said tested positive for PEDs. Do you think that's really going to stop the Browns?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, it'll stop him if he continues to do it.
Right. If he goes into, this didn't even stop the Browns last year. He goes to the Combine and they call it the idiot drug test.
Right.
Because they've been telling you, that's what the scouts call it. Don't smoke dope before the Combine.
As soon as you get across the Ohio line into Pennsylvania, or into Indiana, don't do it.
You know, but actually got it like 20 days. Antonio Callaway, remember, he did flunk it, or a diluted sample. So.
All right, so here's my theory of drafting. That's take the best Buckeye available, and he might be one of the best Buckeyes available.
You know, you don't go too wrong doing that.
Yeah.
Bosa's probably going to be drafted before him, but you don't go very. It is astounding the number of Ohio State players all over the place.
Yeah, and rarely with the Cleveland Browns.
No, although I think Dorsey will change that. You know, because he took Denzel Ward as a surprise, considered to be too high. So
that is true. All right, those are just some of the names. You're going to hear a whole bunch more, but my guess is, Terry, the Browns fans in general won't be following the Combine as they have in recent years.
No, because...
And that's okay.
I mean, really, the fun thing is to talk about is quarterbacks and running backs, or quarterback versus, Saquon Barkley versus whatever quarterback you liked a year ago. How about that? I mean, you go back and you listen now to what Baker Mayfield said at the interview session at the Combine, where he said, I believe I'm the guy that could change the culture in Cleveland. I could really help turn that around. And, it sounded like, okay, fine, but...
He did.
He did.
How about Josh Rosen maybe on the trading block now?
Yeah, I guess it depends. That's funny. Kingsbury comes in there and he's supposed to fix Rosen. Now I want to trade him. To me, Rosen had the kind of season most young Browns quarterbacks have.
Yeah, right.
Bad line, gets hurt.
Yeah. Bad coach.
Bad coaching change. And just a total disaster. And then you go back and you look at it, Les, and you say, well, we don't know. He probably can't play. How do you know?
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know. All right, when we get back, we've got news, Andrew Berry moving over to Philadelphia. How will that change the Browns' style? I don't think too much. What do you think?
No, not at all. Although I'll say this, he did, they were pleased with him. This is a promotion for him.
Which he couldn't have gotten here.
No, not with Alonzo Highsmith and Elliott Wolf. And I'm sure when he sits in the room with those guys, even though they may be interested in what he has to say or whatnot, there's the Green Bay faction over here and I'm over here.
Right, exactly.